Happy New Year's, everyone. I hope everyone had a great time last night enjoying the end of the 2021 year. Today I'm going to actually make a New Year's dinner with clam chowder and fried fish. So the clam chowder recipe comes from Emeril Lagasse, and it's called Chowder of Love. So if you want to actually look up the recipe, I'd go look up his recipe and then just adapt however way you want to. So that's what I do. So a lot of the times when I make the chowder, I actually use the razor clams that we harvest from the Long Beach Peninsula. But today, I didn't want to have to unfreeze a whole bag of clams to make clam chowder, so I'm actually just making it out of just canned clams that you can get from the store. A word of advice, make sure you actually taste the clams and how strong they are. So if you're going to use like razor clams, the recipe might say, hey, throw a pound in, or if you're doubling the recipe, 2 pounds in. Don't do that. Taste the clams. See how strong they are. If you're using razor clams, usually when I've doubled or tripled or even quadrupled the recipe, which I have for lots of different events, rugby events, for drink ups and stuff like that, I usually only use like maybe half cup of razor clams because they're so strong. So I did taste the clams in the can that I bought, and I'm going to only put 1 can in. We'll taste the clams or the chowder, and then we'll see how it goes. So I have all the ingredients already chopped up. I'll show you here in just a second. Okay, so I have most of the ingredients already all prepped. You can see on the left side I have some clam juice. You can buy that at most stores. And that's the juice you can use. A lot of times, if I'm making a huge batch of clam chowder for, say, a rugby event or a big family event of some sort, a lot of times I won't go out of my way to get the clam juice. I'll actually get like a pre-packaged big bag of like a dry clam chowder soup mix and mix that in instead of having all of the clam juice, and then just mix in some chicken broth or water to go along with it, because it can get a little bit expensive if you're going to make clam chowder with the clam juice. I got some bacon chopped up here, carrots, celery, there's leeks, onions, definitely use leeks. I've got some heavy cream, and what else we got over? Onion, and then our clams back here. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is kind of render down the bacon that we have right here in my nice pot that I've got going. So let's get started. Okay, so we're on medium-high heat. I also want to mention that I do have some chopped potatoes back here soaking in some water. And let's see, I need a spoon of some sort. Okay, let's get our pound of bacon going. Now I doubled the recipe, so again, you can find the recipe out online anywhere. Just put Chowder of Love and it'll be out there, no problem. Okay, this is gonna take probably at least 10 minutes to get the bacon in the condition that we want to get it into. So I'll bring you back when we're ready for that. All right, guys, this is what we're looking for. You can see nice and crispy bits in there. This actually took me about almost 15 minutes, actually. With doubling the recipe, I think it took a little bit longer. But anyways, you want to make sure that you see lots of crispy bits in there, and which is going to be extremely delicious. So let's move on and start putting all of our rest of our ingredients in. Okay, so let's get our veggies in. So that's celery. I've got like 2 cups of celery here. 2 cups of carrots. And all this will help get all those little bits up off the bottom of the pan, which is the best part, guys. Okay, our leeks. 2 cups again. 2 cups of onion. And we're just gonna saute all of these vegetables with the bacon for, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes. You're really just trying to get a wilt going, and you're trying to get all of the goodies off the bottom of the pan, which I can already tell. Let me see if I can bring you guys in on that. Hold up, let's take a look. Okay, so see all this dark, don't want to take that off, but see all the dark stuff from the bacon at the bottom? So there was a lot more of it, and as I'm mixing the veggies in, a lot of that's going to come off the bottom and you won't even have it anymore. That's the best part, guys. See all that right there? See how that's just coming right off the bottom? So the wilting of those veggies is kind of helping to bring all of that stuff up off the bottom of the pan. So that's the good stuff. All right, I'll let this cook for at least 2 minutes, might be 5, until it's nice and wilted, and then we're gonna add in some of our seasonings. All right, guys, so the vegetables are done sweating, basically, and see how when we get to the bottom, let me see if I can show you. Let me go here. See how all of that bacon and goodness, I'm sure Daniel has a name for it, but see how it's all basically gone? All the sweat and liquid from the veggies just completely take it up off the bottom of the pan. So now it's time for our seasonings and our flour. So we're gonna add a couple tablespoons of thyme, fresh thyme that I chopped up. And let's see, oops, sorry for the reach, guys. Some bay leaves. We're also gonna add the potatoes. Hold on, I'm gonna have to drain them really quick. Okay, so let's add some salt and pepper. Right now we're just gonna add a bit, and then in the end we'll add some more, depending on what we think of the flavor. We're gonna add in the potatoes. Now, the cut of the vegetables is completely up to you. So you can cut these a lot finer if you want. We actually like our veggies and our potatoes to be a little bit more of a bigger bite. But it's up to you guys, whatever your preference is. We're also gonna add in our flour. Stir this all up. See if I can bring you guys over so you can kind of see here. Okay, so we have our flour in, our potatoes, all of our veggies. We're just gonna kind of let as Daniel likes to say, let the flour cook out the flour, or something to that effect. What is it, Dal? Let the cook the flour out of the flour. Okay, so we're gonna cook this for about, I don't know, 2 minutes, a couple minutes here, and then we're gonna start adding in the all the juice. Okay, so my lighting isn't very good, but here's what it looks like. All the flour and veggies in there. We're about to add all of the liquid. So let's get started here. So all of our clam juice. clam juice that was from the can of clams. So what I used was this, and I'm only using one. Again, the recipe calls for like a pound, but this isn't even quite a pound, and I'm actually doubling the recipe. So we'll put in 1 can, we'll taste it. You know, if it's too clammy, then it isn't going to be any good. I mean, there is a fine line. Okay, and then because I'm doubling this last minute, I actually didn't buy enough of the clam juice. So instead of going back to the store and buying a whole bunch more clam juice, I'm just going to put in some chicken broth to make up for the amount of clam juice that I'm deficient. Okay. We'll let this get up to temperature. And I'll bring you back when we're ready. Okay, so we're going to bring all the veggies and the potatoes, the flour, all the broth up to a boil, and then we're going to reduce it and just simmer for enough time that the potatoes are basically tender. So, and as you're stirring, you want to make sure you're really scraping along the bottom. You know, we have use a wooden spoon, obviously not to damage any of your pots and pans, but use a spoon to get all those goodies that are on the very bottom, stuck to the bottom of your pan. And you'll be able to feel them, believe me, I can feel them. That is all flavor. Don't let that go to waste. Anyways, once this is up to a simmer, I'll bring you back so you can take a look at what it looks like. Okay guys, so kind of coming up to a boil here. We're gonna stir it up really good and then lower the heat and just basically cook until the veggies are tender. And then we'll add the clams and the cream. And we'll be adding like 4 cups of cream, so the amount that you're seeing right now is going to increase quite a bit. Like, again, I doubled this recipe so that my family can have some for today, but then also for tomorrow and leftovers. So anyways, I'll bring you back when I'm ready to put the other ingredients in. All right, so while we're waiting for the vegetables to get nice and tender, I do want to show that we've got some fish. This is sturgeon that we're going to be frying after the soup is done. So we'll let the soup cool down. All right, so we'll let the veggies get tender. Let's see how we're doing here. Of course, the best way to check is by just tasting it, but let's just see how the fork test goes. Yeah, still a little bit tough, but very close. All right, guys, so the veggies are tender. We're gonna add in the heavy cream. Stir it up. Let's see what the color looks like. Oh yeah, that's looking beautiful. Once this comes up to a simmer again, we're gonna add in the clams. And then after the clams, it's some parsley, and then basically we are done. Okay guys, so the cream has been in for, I don't know, probably at least 3 minutes. I can see that it's coming up to a simmer again. So now we're gonna add in the clams. And I'm only gonna put in 1 can. We'll have Daniel come in and take a taste. We're gonna let those clams cook a little bit for, I don't know, a couple minutes. as I've been seeing bay leaves, I've been taking the bay leaves out. Make sure that you're taking your bay leaves out so that you're not serving bay leaves to anybody. But anyways, I will come back in a minute. All right, guys, so Daniel's come in, he's tasted, he thinks the clam level is perfect. I do want to remind everybody that you don't necessarily have to put clams in this. If you just want like a good potato soup, just replace all of the clam juice with chicken broth and just never put in the clams, and you've got a awesome potato soup. So I've put in the parsley at the end here, and I'm going to add just a little bit of salt and pepper as well. Dan was saying that he thinks that it needs just maybe a little smidge of salt and pepper, so that's what we're going to do. And then we are done. And this is a very simple recipe, folks. Try it out. You'll love it. You don't have to go to the beach and harvest clams in order to make a really good clam chowder. As always, be kind and wander well.